All right, welcome back to the DSR channel week 10, and I'm going to rank all the feats in the new book, Astarion's Book of Hunger. And buckle up, we're going to go fast. Okay, so here's the whole table. I put it in my Google Drive as a PDF and a CSV, and I've added it to what I already had there, so you can get all of that and, slice and dice it how you like. All right, first up is the origin feat, Tireless Reveler. I'm not going to go over or read the feat or go over it again, but this one's one of the best, I think. Yeah, one of the best origin feats. When an ally, now I got this wrong when I did the first analysis on this. It's when an ally expends heroic inspiration, not when they gain it. Okay, so when they expend it, you gain it. So if two of you have this, you just give it back and forth to each other. Pretty good. Proficiency bonus uses for short or long rest. Good. They should have done that on so many of the general feats where they just proficiency bonus short or long rest, guys. Like, I don't know, they thought heroic inspiration was weaker than most of those effects. No, it's stronger than most of those effects you put on those general feats. Okay, so this is A tier self buff, survival, and versatility. It doesn't really apply to any specific role. It's just good for every role. All right, so solid. Oh, and as a reminder, remember my roles are about not about what's needed for the party. Nothing. There is no specific party composition that's needed. The roles are about what you have chosen to play. Right. I want this character to be a tank. That's the role. Okay. I want this character to be a blaster. Okay, I'm doing AoE damage. That's your role. So this is the way you use this is you just kind of go, if you need more of whatever you're building, you need more tank features, then you just go down the column looking for tank features and choosing out of there. But if you're a tank and you already have enough tank features, you may want to diversify and look down the other columns. And this is the idea of this table is to give you a quick view of like, all right, I don't need to read every single feat. I can just scan down the list and pick, just look at the ones that have something, an entry in that column that I'm looking for. Okay. Next, Vampire Hunter. Disappointing. This is a C for survival. It's got some niche functionality. The Vitality Ward, yes, as people pointed out, it does stack with resistance, which is probably the best thing about it. Still, it's once per short or long rest, um, and it's without resistance, it's terrible. If you have resistance, it's kind of good once per short or long rest, and only if you take necrotic damage. Advantage to escape from non-magical restraints and grappled condition is rare. That's not going to come up very often. And even more often, depending on the role you're playing, you may not care that you're grappled. So this one's not good. C for survival. Vampire's Plaything. A for flavor. Okay. Such a great name. But we're not ranking flavor with these, right? And also flavor is free. So you can rename these to be anything you want and make them better. This one is I give it an A for survival, an A for skirmishers, and a B for frontliners. And that's because skirmishers really benefit from dashing and disengaging, right? Being able to dash and disengage as a bonus action. This really opens up the skirmisher role to a lot more classes and build types. So this is fantastic for the skirmisher role, right? You can make a skirmisher out of anything now. And not have to wait for certain, abilities to come online at higher levels or certain spells you get access to, like druids, once they can cast Conjure Woodland Beings, they can dash as a bonus action. Disengage as a bonus action. Now you don't have to wait. You can just take this feat and you're a skirmisher, right? So I love that about it. And survivability to be able to disengage and just get away as a bonus action on top of still doing your action. Great. I think this one is another excellent origin feat. These contend for top 2 origin feats with anything, right? Like the tough feat probably contends with these, and like, I don't know, depends on how you use the other ones, but these are top tier origin feats. Fantastic. And then you get a flavor feature. Cool flavor. I like it. Now we're in the general feats. Bloodlust. A for flavor. B for power, right? And in the power it gives you, you would think Bloodlust would give you some sort of like offensive ability, like you're lusting after the blood, and it makes you, I don't know, enraged or attack or frenzied or something like that. No, does none of that. It's really just survival. Now, it won't give you as much healing in a whole day as the durable feat, because the durable feat has unrestricted number of uses. It's just your hit dice. So this one's restricted by both expending your hit dice and has a limited use, proficiency bonus times per long rest. The upside of Sanguine Feast is there's no action economy. It's free from the action economy perspective. So you don't have to spend a bonus action to do this. You just, when you hit, you can do this. Now it's once per turn. So you can do it once on your turn and once on another turn if you can get an attack as a reaction. So interesting synergy with like the Sentinel feat, right? Which makes this a lot more interesting for, say, frontliners. So this is a solid B for survival. I would give it. Yeah, it's a B rank survival. And some builds it'll be you can make it better, but solid. I wouldn't worry about it if you just think it sounds cool and you want to be improve your survivability. You're not going to feel bad about this one. Bomber. I so wanted to like this one, and I think it's a C. Um, the power is just not great. The far lobber feature only benefits a few items, and it increases their throwing range from 20 to 40, which is great that it doubles, but 40 is still not very good. It's a lot better than 20, but it's still not very good. Long shots, actually, you can't get this kind of feature on thrown weapons from the sharpshooter feat. Thanks to all the viewers who helped me out with that, and then I looked it up to verify myself to make sure I was all right. And yeah, so this is better because if you're doing specifically a thrown build and you want to like really specialize with throwing, you probably should get this because the thrown weapons do not have great range, right? What is it? Javelins have the best thrown weapon range, and they have a range of like 30 for short range and 120 for long range, and all the others are like 20, 60 or worse. So if you want to be a thrown weapon specialist, this is almost a must-have, but that's one very niche build. Most of the time, people are not like, yeah, people are not specializing in thrown weapons. It's a very rare build. Um, but if you're going to do it, you probably do need this. And so for you, it's an A. Ironically and sadly, this does nothing to help with the actual bomb item in the game. There are bomb items that cost 100 gold pieces each, and this doesn't help one bit with those, which is just sad. And I think that's its own kind of problem. WotC, if you're listening, don't name things unless it does very specifically the thing it's named after, right? Because a lot of people, and frankly, at some point, all of us, right? Decision fatigue is a real thing. At some point, we all get exhausted. Our decision making part of our brain gets exhausted, and we start, we just struggle to make more decisions, right? So at some point, we all experience that. So it's not even just a subset of the players. It's like just all of us, at least sometimes. You're just exhausted from trying to like read everything and parse all the rules and check every feat. And sometimes you just pick based off of like that name. I think, oh yeah, does it help bombs? It's called Bomber. I want to do a bomber character. Cool, let's do that. And you pick it, and then you get into play and realize it doesn't do at all what it says it's doing, right? Guys, you can't name things in ways that don't do what they say they're doing. So super important for game design. Please, WotC, pay attention to that. Cloying Mists. I give this one a B relative to other general feats for just being giving a control effect, right? There aren't a lot of feats that give control effects or add to control effects. And the best part of this one is it adds to a spell that's a decent control spell, okay? And I think what it's adding is better than what a lot of people assume. Like a 5-foot slow is very small, but it stacks, right? I think if they had said the fog cloud is difficult terrain for just your enemies, it would have been stronger on the low end, right? It would always slow them to some degree, right? A fairly significant amount, but it wouldn't stack with any other effect that causes difficult terrain, right? So they would automatically just be redundant. So its minimum value would be higher and its maximum value would be lower, which is a better design. Like you want things to be in this range where it's always decently useful, but never through stacking and other kind of like gotchas and loopholes or creative combinations of rules, creative rule interactions. Its maximum potential is capped. So you should have like made this difficult terrain, in my opinion. Yeah. Because as it is, you can stack this with the slow weapon mastery, the slasher feat, the ray of frost. Add this on. We're already at a 35-foot speed reduction. Just those 4 things. Yeah, that will cripple most monsters. Then they just can no longer move. And you even have kind of like this backup that this is an AOE effect. So even if you don't land all of those on every creature, right? Oh, even better. This plus Spirit Guardians. Sorry, Spirit Guardians, right? Have their movement speed and subtract a -5. Now, also, WotC, we don't have any guidance on the order of precedence for when you have a speed and when you subtract a flat number from a speed. Like, which one is first? There's no rules on that. So we need that too, guys. All right. Delicious Pain, another excellent flavored feat that is misleading because it's so poor. This is like a C if you're a tank and a D for everyone else. Like if you're just looking, if you're not a tank and you're looking for survivability, this is a D, which for me means you should pass. Like just don't even try. With a C, that means it's niche. There's circumstances, there's combinations and rules interactions where you can make it great for certain kinds of builds and situations. B, yeah, even easier to do that, and it's gonna often be at least minimally used, useful, right, in a lot of situations. And A is like great all the time. Okay. C is you might be able to do something with it. D, don't touch this thing, right? And that's where this is for just a general survivability. Is you might think it's like, ooh, I get resistance. No, it's really bad for survivability because it only triggers after you take the damage. So you're going to take all the damage one time, then you trigger it, and it applies until only the start of your next turn. Right? This is the shortest 1 round duration version of all kinds of features that there are, and you only do it once per short rest. So the only way that has any real value is if you get hit again by by a bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage type. Right? So you have to be hit more than once for this to have any value. And who actually wants to be targeted? The tank. All right. So if you're the tank and you're just surrounded by all kinds of monsters and you have like this really great, super strong AoE type taunt effect, which is, Spirit Guardians is a great AoE taunt, right? You're just causing lots of damage in an area around you. That's a great AoE taunt. Yeah, and you're likely to just keep getting targeted over and over and over. Maybe, right? But it's still once per short rest. So it's a C at best. All right, Lightbringer, another cool one that I wanted to love. And it's a D for survivability and a C for versatility, right? It's just the usage of sunlight is so narrow, right? There's like 18 monsters, I think, that are sensitive to sunlight. And so when you use this against them, you're a champ, right? You're basically unstoppable. And against everything else, this is pointless. So, depends on and even then, right? Like you could say, well, if you're in Curse of Strahd, this is A tier. It might be S tier in Curse of Strahd, but that's kind of the problem with it. When you face one of those 18 monsters, this is too powerful. Like you're just for 1 hour you have sunlight. That's how long light spell lasts, right? And you can do this once per day. So once per day, you get the sunlight. That's almost too powerful, right? It just trivializes all of those encounters. So if you're in Curse of Strahd and use this, you just trivialized half the campaign, and then you're not having fun because it's just trivial. So this one is bad on both ends, right? It's just this extreme of too powerful in these 18 circumstances and too weak in the other 1,000 circumstances of the game. So not good. Love Bites. Ugh. By name alone, this is S tier. This is my favorite, most favorite thing in the whole book by the name. By the mechanics, this is garbage, guys. What are you doing to us? This is a D tier control effect. Charmed is not a good. It's one of the weaker conditions to apply. It breaks if you damage them at all. Great that you get, that you can charm them. And you only get to do it once per short or long rest. At best, yeah. I mean, this is just a super weak control effect. It lasts for 1 round, right? To the start of your next turn, or until anybody damages it. It's just too few uses, too weak of an effect, too short of a duration. I wouldn't mess with. I'm going to do a build on this just because I love the idea, but it's going to be a lot of work to make this useful. And even then, I think it's going to be useful, not powerful. Okay. So unfortunately, another dud. Putrefy, cool name. This one is a little better from the perspective of synergy with like summon undead specifically. So if you have anything else, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head, if there's anything else in the game where when you cause the poison condition, you can add an additional effect. Like in Baldur's Gate 3, there was a short sword that did that, and a dagger, I want to say. Like whenever you poison them, it adds these effects. If you can get those kind of effects in D&D, this gains a lot of value. Without those, this is terrible. And even with the summon undead, even with the summon undead spell or any of those effects that you're getting, once per short or long rest, right? And it's until the condition only lasts till the start of your next turn. It's super short. So even with those effects, even when you synergize with other things, this is maybe like that's how it gets a C, right? It's not great even with those. And without those, this is a flat out D, super D. That's an F, okay? So all right, another dud. Rebuke. Um, I'm not even going to talk about it. It hurts my soul too much. This is a D control effect. Don't mess with it. Don't waste your time. Treacherous Allure. Okay. Cool name again. I love the idea. Um, Inevitable Betrayal. The advantage on attack rolls against charmed creatures that have the charm condition there's something we can do here, right? The charm person spell, not a great spell. There's a lot of different ways to get it. This is not a special way, right? Like Magic Initiate can get it for you. Um, Fey Touch can get it for you. There's probably like the Rune Shaper one. I think that might be on that list. And there's probably some other ways to do it, right? Certainly Strixhaven Initiate feats and Adept of the Robes. Sorry, no. Initiative High Sorcery ones from Dragonlance, right? There's a lot of ways you could get this, okay? And that's not something that's important, right? The charm person spell, not great. But hear me out. So you have advantage on attack rolls against a creature that's charmed. Well, with the charm person spell and most charmed effects in the game, they end when you damage them or hurt or target them with any or kind of a spell effect or cause them to make a saving throw. Any of those things ends the effect most of the time. Otto's Irresistible Dance. Okay, all right. The much maligned, and by me as well, 6th level spell. This is where that spell finally has synergy and finally means something, right? Because that is one of the few times where you can cause the charmed condition and it doesn't break when you hit them. They don't even get a resave if you hit them, right? Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Well, that doesn't cause the charm condition, so that doesn't matter. All right, Otto's Irresistible Dance. You can hit them as much as you want, and it doesn't give them a resave. They just get a resave at the end of each of their turns. So you cast Otto's Irresistible Dance on them, and then you have permanent advantage as long as that spell lasts. Boom! 6th level spell, and plus this feat, and you got something interesting. Super circumstantial, all right? Either you have to be like a blade singer so that you have the spell, you have the spell and the spell slots to do this, and then you also want to attack them for advantage, right? You have to be something like a Gish, or you have to have an ally in the party who's willing to spend their concentration on Otto's Irresistible Dance. And then you've got something cool here. Now, there's one other effect in the game that I found. There might be others. Let me know if you find them. The Fey Wanderer Ranger. Now they've got that twisting beguilement. Anyway, it's the 7th level ability where they can, when somebody succeeds at a saving throw versus charm to frighten, they can then make someone else save against charmed or frightened. That effect specifically doesn't end on damage, right? It lasts the whole duration, and they get a resave, I think, at the end of their turns. So you could also just pound on them with that. So for a Fey Wanderer Ranger, this is also pretty good, right? And the Fey Wanderer Ranger's charm effect doesn't take concentration. Quite strong. So for the Fey Wanderer Ranger, this at 7th/8th level, because you got to be 8th level to get another feat after 7th, this is maybe A tier for that one subclass because of that one feature where you can just pound on them, no concentration, like for the charmed effect, and you have advantage. Pretty good. The problem with Otto's Irresistible Dance, right? That combination works, but if you just want advantage on your attack rolls, Greater Invisibility gives you advantage on all your attack rolls, and that's level 4. Lasts a minute. They don't, and nobody's saving against it because you're casting it on yourself. So if that's all you wanted, that's better than the Otto's Irresistible Dance plus this feat. So, okay, but I actually think this might be like A tier for the Fey Wanderer Ranger. Vampire Touched. All right, this one is like a C or B depending on the role and the build you're making. In some cases, a B could be kind of useful for that kind of mobility if you don't have access to it. Only if you don't have access to this spell Spider Climb, and you as a player have the creativity to make good use of like running up the walls and standing on the ceiling and shooting people like as a ranged attacker or as a skirmisher where you run up to the ceiling so they can't even reach you and then run back down and attack and then run back up, right? Like you got to be creative. You got to be Yeah, you got to be a creative type for how to use this thing, and you need to not have access to it already. Like a a blade singer wizard, you already have access to this. So don't take this if you're a wizard. Um, and even then, a lot of the B value comes from the first level spell, which yes, you can get most first level spells in the game through Magic Initiate, but let's just say for whatever reason you couldn't get the background slash origin feat combination to work out right for you, and you don't want to play a human again. And so you just couldn't get access to that first level spell that you needed, like Bless or Heroism or a Silent Image, right? And you really, really wanted it for some reason, because those are all pretty cool spells. Then yeah, that might be a way to go, and then the way to go, and then Spider Climb is like icing on the cake. So this is kind of a B or C, depending on the situation. If you're not confident with being creative in the middle of combat, I would skip this one probably. There are a lot better ways to get better mobility than this. The epic boons now. Boon of the Blazing Dawn. I really wanted to like this one, but it's a C all the way across. And it's the same problem as Lightbringer, where in some situations, some campaigns, it's going to like trivialize the whole campaign, right? So it's OP S tier in some campaigns. And then in every other circumstance, it's like a D because it doesn't do anything for you. And if you just have those monsters, like, the vampire is not the key villain, they just, you're going to run in some vampire spawn, once a time they're on their random encounter table. Okay, this is going to feel okay because sometimes it's going to be super great. You're going to destroy those random encounters. The rest of the time, it does nothing. And that's kind of like where it's going to feel like a C. So, not great. And I would not spend your epic boon on this unless you have a very specific plan to optimize around it, which is probably like Curse of Strahd, which I would recommend you not do this in Curse of Strahd because this will trivialize that whole campaign. You're going to spend a year to a year and a half ruining the DM's life because they're not going to have fun as you just keep trivializing the whole thing, and you're not going to have fun either. It'll be fun the first couple of times you do this, and after that, you're not having fun. That will probably cause the Curse of Strahd campaign to fall apart. This, I mean, you can't get high enough to get this. Curse of Strahd ends at like level 13 or something like that. But let's say so the DM has up leveled it. This will trivialize it. I guess it's the end of the campaign if you're 19th level, so maybe it's okay. Just destroy the end of the campaign and trivialize the BBEG fight. I don't know. Looming Shadows. This one's fantastic, right? A for frontliners and skirmishers. The reach, the extra 10-foot reach, is just awesome for skirmishers. They don't even both helping them with their mobility because they don't have to get as close, and also they don't have to spend any action economy on disengage. So now they can just spend all of their action economy attacking, doing damage, and still get away. And a 15-foot reach is better than most creatures. Once creatures start becoming large sized and bigger, they often have a 10-foot reach, but not always. You don't get 15-foot reaches until they're like gargantuan. So most of the time, you're going to be fine without even having to spend any action economy. Great for skirmishers. And then the dodge action, fantastic for frontliners because you can just dodge all the time. And you don't care if monsters target you or not. And if they try to, they have disadvantage. So that's a great way to add survivability on the front line. For tanks, I don't recommend this in general because monsters can observe that they have disadvantage to attack you before they make the attack roll if you're dodging, right? And by observe, I don't mean role play in the game. They can see that you're dodging, although you could still and should probably describe things that way to make the combats more fun. What I mean by it is they mechanically observe that they have disadvantage before they make the attack, right? That's how this works. If there is a persistent effect that causes disadvantage to make the attack roll, you don't have to try the attack to know that you have disadvantage. You just know before you make the attack roll. So all they have to do is intend to attack you, and then they know they have disadvantage, and you're the tank. You're trying to be targeted. That's how you're protecting your allies. So if they know that they have a less chance of hitting you because they can mechanically observe they have disadvantage, they're going to target you less. So unless you have some sort of massively overpowering AoE taunt effect like Spirit Guardians upcasted or Conjure Celestials, right? Those are both, super AoE taunts. And I mean the taunt in the sense of being a massive threat on the battlefield, right? You're healing your allies with and damaging the enemy with Conjure Celestials. The enemies cannot ignore you. You are a huge problem. They've got to try to take you out, even if you're dodging. So in those kind of circumstances, this is then an A for tanks. Otherwise, I wouldn't take this on a tank. I don't recommend it for tanks. And so unless you're like really comfortable with the tank roll and know how to make this all work and how you can encourage enemies despite because chances for an enemy to hit you is relative to your allies, right? So depending on how the level of survivability all your allies have, you have to stay kind of below that or make up for it with massive threat. And so you've got to balance that against all of your allies. So it really depends on how what all your allies are doing. And if you're good at doing that and you can balance the dodge action and the effect it has on tanking with everything else going on, fantastic. This is an A tier for you. For everyone else, for just general survivability, this is a B because at level 19, I mean, the dodge action is a super strong action, but at level 19, you probably have a handful of valuable things to do with your bonus action. And dodge is good, but it may not always be the best. So you probably have too much contention for your bonus action. So it's just not generally a great thing. If you could get this at level 4, this is S tier. Just yeah, at level 4, everybody should just take this if this was level 4. Because at level 4, you don't have much contention for your bonus action. A lot of times you don't have anything to do with your bonus action, and dodging is a great bonus action. So, but at level 19, this is a B. And finishing it off with another disappointing one. This is like a C for survival, and that's it. Now it is a strong survival effect, but it's a strong survival effect that doesn't kick in until you've failed to survive. Right? You drop to 0 hit points, and then this thing saves you. Whereas everything else you're doing in the game is trying to prevent you from dropping to 0 hit points. Like every decision you make, everything you do as a party, every tactical and strategic thing you're doing is to try to prevent people from dropping to 0 hit points. So you're preventing the usage of this. And by taking this, you're planning to fail at everything else you're doing in the game. So it just doesn't work with itself well, right? It's not a fun way to play. And if you succeed at all of your decisions and everything else you're doing in the game, if you succeed at preventing yourself from dropping to 0 hit points, then you never actually activate this. And this epic boon, your one epic boon you get by level 20, is never used because you were successful. So like it doesn't work with itself. It's like a flawed design. So not great. Now, if you're in some sort of like super deadly campaign, Tomb of Annihilation, yeah, maybe this is worth it. But that campaign tops out at like level 15, I think. So you're not going to have this epic boon. I don't know. I don't think it's good unless you're like really confident with like your plan and what's going on with the campaign and how everything works together. I wouldn't touch it. Just leave it alone. But if you're really confident, you know what you're doing, you know how this all work together and how you're going to like optimize around this kind of a concept, maybe as a whole party. Yeah, this might be B or A tier for you. So great. And I'm going to zoom in on the table as I finish this last bit, just so you can see it a little easier. But remember, I got it on the Google Drive, so you don't need to like screenshot it or memorize it. But I want to end with a call to WotC. Please don't put out books like this. This book is bad for the game. You guys hurt the game by releasing a book like this. And I don't even care that it was 10 or 15 bucks or whatever it was. The problem is that you added 16 feats to the game. The 4 of them are good. 5 of them are garbage. And like, what is that? 9 that are kind of like or bleh. You added a significant number of feats that are going to have to be continuously parsed and reparsed and reread by players when there's already a big list of feats. Like we already have just in 2024 version a lot of feats. And feats are fun and feats are cool, but you need to make them valuable and worthwhile. Or what you're doing to all the players is adding a bunch of garbage that they continuously have to see in that list of available options and either remember, oh yeah, wait, love bites? Whoa, that sounds cool. Like, what does that do again? And you read it again, and you're like, oh, it's garbage. Don't take it. And the more you do that, the more you're increasing the chances the players are just going to tap out, right? Like they're tired of that. It's exhausting. All of us, like some of us are better at it than others, right? And some of us are all of us have that, like the 2 wolves, right? You got your optimizer wolf and you got your role play wolf, right? Some of us are just inherently better. Like everybody's inherently better at one or the other. Like I don't think anybody's inherently just great at both. Okay, like if you are, screw you, because that's unfair. All right, the rest of us though, we're inherently better at one, and so those of us who are like better at the optimizer, like I am, we're just better at analyzing things. This is less bad for us, but not nothing for us, right? because all of us reach a point where we achieve or reach decision fatigue, right? Where you're just mentally exhausted from reading options, parsing options, and choosing options, right? It's like a problem with the spells already. We've got 1,000 spells in the game, and every time you like have to do a high level spellcaster, build a high level spellcaster, you got to read like 900 spells. And you're like, oh yeah. I reach a point where I'm just like, screw it. I don't know. I'm just gonna pick the ones I know, and I'm not even reading them anymore, right? And I don't pick based off the name, at least, right? Like that's the at least I have that, right? I just default back to, well, I already know what this one does. I'm just picking that one, and I'm picking that one, and I'm picking that one. And so there's a lot of high level spells I just like, I never use, and I DM a lot. I am good at this game. I'm not the best, but I am good with the rules. And I reach a point where I'm like, screw it. I'm not reading Shape Changer. I'm not reading True Polymorph. I'm not reading animal shapes again and trying to figure out how does this work and what does it do and why would I want to use it, right? I just go, okay, Foresight, boom, that's my 9th level spell. Guys, you're hurting all of us by doing this. This exact thing is what killed 2nd edition. You crush the game under its own weight of just a sheer volume of rules. And if you do, and you reach this point of crushing the game and killing the player base, if you, especially faster, if that volume of rules is garbage. Do not add garbage content. So I implore you, please don't create content like this. Don't do books like this. If you're probably understaffed. I knew as soon as Sigil was announced that was going to be a fiasco that would hurt the game, and it did, right? You guys, WotC blew $33 million on it, and they just turned it off, and it never made $1, right? Or it made $100. I knew that was going to go that way. So you're probably understaffed. You've laid off a bunch of people. You guys are struggling. I get it. I feel for all of you there who are trying to do your best. I love you guys, and I want this game to succeed, and I want you to succeed. If it really comes down to that, call me. Find me on Discord. It's in my description, my video descriptions. I will help you with this for free. Give me 1 day before you send these books to the printer. I guarantee you I could have made all of these A or B. And by the way, give me 24 hours with 100 people, with the 100 people who commented on my videos, just that group. Every one of these would be A tier, awesome, right? Just that level of interaction and discourse. These would have been fantastic. 100 people, and I have 1,000 subscribers, right? My channel is rinky dinky. Come on, guys. Give us 24 hours. We will help you for free because we love this game. You are missing out on your best asset, which is your community. We want this game to succeed. We love this game. Thousands of us would help you for free. Let us help us help you. Okay? All right, that's it. I'm sorry. If any of you know anybody at WotC, please send this part of the video to them. I mean it absolutely sincerely. I just love this game and I want it to be continue and succeed. Sorry, I'm actually getting emotional over this. I want it to continue to be great, and I want it to continue to do good things for the world and help people. I can't tell you how many stories I've been part of where this like brought somebody out of depression, where this helped somebody feel valued and worthwhile, where this helped people, develop skills that they were bad at that helps them interact with other humans in the world. Okay, we can't lose that over crappy content. So absolutely, I will help. I'll sign an NDA. I'll do it for free. Let us help you guys. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.